Morning, Sam. Bloomberg's own points of return asked a question today of why is pharma seen as a defensive investment, given the amount of innovation that we've seen in the industry over the last, say, 20 years? Healthcare faces big challenges in terms of political risk, aging populations, and funding. So let's focus a little bit on tech's role in the future progress of the industry. And firstly, how can AI speed drug development?
Yeah, so Rod, it's not just about drug development. Drug development is one tiny sliver of where technology, say, not just AI, technology can make a difference to the process of getting a drug from an idea to patients and then managing those patients, managing the hospitals that they're treated in. So there's a whole spectrum through which technology and AI can impact. And I think is going to impact the provision of healthcare in general.
And can technology have a meaningful impact on waiting lists, diagnostics, and what we hear all the time about the admin burden of hospitals in general?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it goes across the whole spectrum of provision of healthcare. On the patient side, once a drug or a device has been launched, of course, then you need to manage it, make sure it's reaching the right patients. That's quite critical for pharma companies, diagnostic companies. You can have the best test in the world for finding a patient that's got a subtype of lung cancer. But if you can't get it to those patients, if you can't get the patients to those tests, then you have an issue. And there are companies that are working in that area to try and use AI to speed up the matching of a patient to a diagnostic. Then you take it through to actually managing those patients, making sure they come back for their treatments, making sure the hospitals are running well enough so that they have capacity as much as possible to continue to treat patients in an area which is constantly changing and putting extra burden on them in terms of bed requirements, etc. So every single element here, I think, is amenable to improvement through technology. The biggest challenge, though, Rod, is you've got two systems in the world. You've got the private healthcare systems, such as, of course, the most important one, or the most well-known one, there is the United States, where there is potential for silos. So you've got a group of hospitals or a hospital that uses this system, and then another one uses another one. And then you go to Europe and the one-payer systems, often governments. You have this different situation. There is that they're perfect for rolling out a solution across a country that helps everybody, but they're always constrained by budget because they're basically funded by governments. So that's something that needs to be cracked, and I think both sides need to start figuring out how to manage that.
And if I look at the valuation of the pharma sector, it's not that pricey. You think about the utilization of technology now within the industry and going forward. Is the market missing something in terms of the potential of the sector, do you think?
Yeah, no, so if you, within that valuation that you look at as a sector, there are companies that are sitting up here and there are others that are sitting down here. And there is a reason, a good reason for both of them. The two, of course, that are leading are Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, for the reason that I'm pretty sure not a single person on this listening to this conversation doesn't know, which is the advent of the obesity drugs. Although I want to highlight here what I've been going on about. They're not just obesity drugs. These are drugs that fundamentally change the metabolic state of your body, and that's important to remember. Now, but then you have companies that are struggling a little bit with their pipeline, with getting that innovation to shine through for investors to realize. So I think it is a sector that has become, of course, as a whole, is still defensive because of its cash flows, because of its non-dependency on general economic conditions. But within it, there are areas where you see pockets of significant growth, and I would add AstraZeneca into that space. Merck is in an area where there's lots of innovation coming. Those are companies that I think are winning in terms of the valuation, and those who are losing in terms of valuation are those who are still trying to convince investors of the value of their pipeline and its future.
Sam, appreciate your time. For the benefits of our listeners, there's 3 good podcasts we'll put in the show notes where you host dealing with the topic of AI and pharma. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.